So today we're gonna dig into some vocals. I've got a song called Mexico by Scott Martin. It's a really cool track. We actually wrote the song a while ago and we recently finished it. So today I wanna get into how we mix the lead vocals for Scott's song Mexico. I didn't really make a plan for what I wanna talk about specifically here, so we're just gonna pull this session up, pull open the lead vocal, look at what's going on, explain some things, let you hear some things, show you what I'm doing. Let's get to it. Here's our lead vocal track. This is a very dense session. We've got a lot of shit going on. So let's dive in. First on our list, we've got Melodyne. I'm not gonna go too in depth on what's going on here with Melodyne because I do have a deep dive Melodyne video and I can link you to that if that's something you're interested in. All you really need to know here is that we did some vocal tuning. We wanted to make sure that the lead vocal was nice and locked in place. And so we started with Melodyne to make sure that that's what we were getting. So I'm going to bypass all of the plugins on the lead vocal. We'll leave Melodyne on and let's solo the vocal.
Desperado, I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow. A 6-string in my hand.
I believe we recorded these in a booth with the Slate virtual microphone system. What I'm hearing is a tight vocal. It sounds like a good recording, but it's very dynamic. You can hear a lot of ups and downs, so we need to level some of that stuff out. First in our chain here is the Waves De-Esser. Just using that as a starting point to tame some sibilance so that the S's aren't triggering compression. So let's hear what that's doing. Here is bypassed.
Desperado.
And you can hear the word desperado, the S really sticks out. So let's see if we're getting rid of that.
Desperado, desperado, desperado.
Yep, that sounds much better to me. So next in our chain is the virtual mix rack. So let's pop that open. Yep, okay, so the first thing we've got going on here is the Slate virtual microphone system. I love that mic. It sounds great all on its own, especially once you start putting some of these mods on there. We went with the FG800, which to me sounds really cool and open and bright and present, but the top end is really nice and smooth. So let's turn this plugin on. We're gonna go through these one by one. So I'll bypass the others. Let's see what this microphone's doing. Here's with everything off in this rack here.
I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow. I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow.
So immediately I hear that there's a little bit more body to the low end and a little more of that silky smooth high end coming through. So I love what that's doing already. So now we've got the FG116, which is basically an 1176. Let's pop that on. Knowing me, and this is kind of a forward rock song, I probably compressed the hell out of it.
Desperado, I'm a wanted man.
Yeah, so we're hitting -7, -10 dB. Our attack is right smack in the middle, so letting a little bit of that transient through, releases as fast as it can go, ratio 4:1. So we're getting some pretty solid compression here. We're gonna stack that up later with the FG2A. Let's take a look at some of the EQ going on. I have a preset called My Damn Vocals. That preset, it just gives me some frequency ranges that I use often. It's not so much a preset that I pop on and it's just like, boom, perfect vocal sound, but it gives me the mid-range that I tend to boost a bit, gives me the upper mid-range where some harshness lies and I tend to cut a bit, and I like to push a lot with this filter. So we're gonna hear this start to come to life when I turn this on. We are pushing 7 dBs at 1000 hertz, so I'm getting some forwardness and presence in the mid-range there. We're pulling 5 dB at 3.6, so there tends to be a resonant there that I don't really love. And this EQ is pretty gradual, so we can carve out a good chunk of that. And then we're pushing a lot here at 10.3 decibels of a high shelf, which I believe is, about 10K in this EQ. Let's first hear it without.
Desperado, I'm a wanted man. Desperado, I'm a wanted man.
So it's very bright. It might sound a little too bright. We're going to tame some of that as we go. We've got another stage of compression I can see coming up later. We've got another de-esser, which is going to help us there. So I believe we're going to tame some of that again. I was just using this EQ to really tone shape, really get that air on top. And again, it might sound too much now in the mix, and as we build the rest of this chain out, that's going to change. That's going to sound a little more balanced. So let's pop on this compressor and see how much we're taking off here.
Desperado, I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow.
Cool, there's a lot that I like here, and there's a lot that I don't love. I'm starting to get some harshness in the top end. I'm sure you guys are hearing that too, and I'm gonna show you how we clean that up along the way. Next up, we have Fresh Air, again, from Slate Digital. This is adding some top end in a really pleasing way. Let's hear what that's doing.
Desperado, desperado,
It's that extra air. It almost adds breath to the top of each note. I really like that kind of presence. Now is what I was hoping for. We would tame some of that top end that we added, because on some of the held out notes, I feel like the brightness is perfect. But on the word desperado, where there's a sibilant at the top of the note and a sibilant midway through, we're getting a lot of extra top end versus some of the more sustained notes. So let's see what the de-esser's got for us.
Desperado, desperado. I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow. A 6-string in my hand.
We are really attenuating pretty hard here. And so the de-esser I'm using almost like a compressor. I mean, the de-esser is a compressor of the high frequencies. And so we're using it to build up the high end across the board. And then in the areas where it would be too much, in the sibilant areas, taming that back down. So I feel like now we've achieved a very level top end and a very nice presence that's going to cut through the mix and let the vocals sit nice and on top. Lots of air, lots of presence. All right, again, so this is a forward rock track. We've got a lot of sound to compete with. So I'm using a limiter next, the Waves L2, and we're going to take off even more. And we're going to level that vocal out, get it sitting more forward and really punch through.
Desperado, I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow. A 6-string in my hand.
So it's not working too hard, and that's the real takeaway here. Like, yes, we are limiting the vocal, but we're not squashing it. Maybe a little later in the track, we could see where he gets like a little more forward in the chorus. This is going to be a little squashed, but I'm okay with that. But during the verse here, we're not really shaving off too much.
Desperado, I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, a couple dB, 3 dB here and there on some of the spikes, so I'm cool with that. Now we got the FabFilter Pro MB, the multiband compressor. And from the looks of it, I was liking the brightness and presence of the vocal, but missing some body. So we used this to compress the low end to get some consistency so that we could bring it up, but not have it jumping up and down when he sings a lower note. Let's jump ahead a little later in the verse where we've got some longer phrases.
Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady? Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady?
Oh yeah, tons more body. We're starting to balance out. We were getting a lot of the crispiness and the air in the first couple of moves we did. Now we're bringing in some body. And it looks like we bumped the output a little bit too, just gain staging along the way. Next in our chain, we have the FabFilter Pro Q3, my favorite EQ, pretty much everybody's favorite EQ. And just a friendly reminder, if you're getting something out of this video, to hit subscribe, drop me a comment, leave a like. It really helps out so much. All right, let's keep going. We've got 2 notches here. It looks like we're just taming the harshness in the top end. Yeah, 3.6K. I notice pretty consistently that 3.6 tends to really zing, and that could be, certain microphones just have a little bit of a resonant there, but we're pulling a bit of that out, close to 9 decibels here, so pretty significant. And if we look ahead a little bit, at 10K, we have a 3 dB cut. So let's just listen to what these two are doing. I'm going to bypass it. We'll show you what that sounds like first.
Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady? Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady?
So I'm noticing this a lot on the word lady. So I'm going to bypass this plugin, see if you can hear that resonance poking through, and then I'll play with the plugin back on.
Lady, 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 lady.
All right, last plugin in our vocal chain here. We've got the API 560. This is a cool one. It doesn't leave you a lot of options. It is what it is. The bandwidths are set, but it's cool for making those little fine-tuned sort of tone shaping. We're not going in surgically with a plugin like this. We're tone shaping. And I'm using this very subtly. I am doing 2 moves here, a 1 decibel push at 4K and a 1 decibel pull at 2K. This is bypassed.
Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady? Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady?
So that's, again, very subtle. We're just doing a 1 dB push, 1 dB pull. Not all that noticeable, but it gave us a little bit more presence in the mix, fighting some of those guitars. We're going to flip over to our mix window. We've got a ton of tracks here. I'm going to scoot all the way over here to my vocal effects. This is a cool little setup that I think you guys will like. What I do is I route all of my vocals. I send them all to a vocal effects bus. It's a single bus. And then I have 6 or 7 effects tracks that all receive input from that same bus. They're all getting input at the same time, which is not the most efficient for the CPU, but we've got some pretty powerful computers these days. So I send the vocal to all of the effects, meaning they're always receiving signal, so that at the push of a fader, I can say, give me reverb, give me a different kind of reverb, give me a slap delay, give me a quarter note delay. I've got all of my effects firing at all times, and I can use the faders to work how much of each one I want. So I don't have to go in bit by bit and adjust the sends on each vocal track. They're just going to all of the effects all of the time. Let's look at what we've got here. A couple different reverbs. I've got some plates, some halls, a few different types of delays. I tend to go for the slap delay first and build out a quick sense of space. Then I'll surround it with reverb. So it's almost like an early reflection in a way, but a bit more aggressive. So let's mute all of these effects and I'll show you what the slap delay is doing.
Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady?
So instantly that vocal is taken out of the booth. There's some space to it. So let's hear it again dry.
Won't you take me by the hand?
You can hear that there's just nothing going on around that vocal. With the slap delay,
won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady?
All right, so this is the H delay. It's my favorite delay. I'm using it in stereo ping pong, so it's going to go from left to right and 110 milliseconds. It's not synced to any BPMs. It's just a really fast 110 millisecond left to right, gives us that space, pans it out a bit, feels really cool. Another thing that I do that you might see here, there's a de-esser on top of all of these effects. The reason for that is I don't need the S sounds to zing out and create a 2-second reverb every time there's a sibilant sound. Same thing with the slap delay. It'd be really distracting every time there's an S for it to go and just move around your head. So I start every effect chain with the de-esser that you can push and pull based on the effect here. But again, I don't want the S's to be the thing that's catching my attention, especially in an effect like a delay. Next, I have 2 reverbs going on together, but let's go through them one by one. Here's the Abbey Roads plates. This is a really cool sounding plate, and we're gonna hear that mixed in with the slap delay.
Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady? Baby, I'm a wanted man.
We've got this dampered down a bit. If I push that up to, 6 or so.
Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady?
That goes on for so much longer, and it's a little uncontrolled. I mean, it might be cool for Lana Del Rey, but for what we're going for here, I liked it a little bit tighter, a little bit shorter. So we still get the space that it creates, but the decay is not nearly as long.
Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady?
And these short reverbs also bring back some body and roundness to the vocal without relying on EQ alone. So again, that's why we do these in phases. And I was saying earlier that it might feel a little too bright, too crispy, but when you start bringing in these effects, the vocal becomes round again, and the feed going into our reverbs is nice and clean. If I hit that with too much low mid-range, the reverb would sound muddy. So now the reverb sounds clean, and it's bringing back the roundness. The last effect we have going on here is the Verb Suite Classics. It's a great reverb by Slate Digital, and this, I believe, is just set to the factory default. Right out of the gate sounds really cool. So it's a little bit brighter than some other lush reverbs like the Valhalla or even some of the plates here, but mixed in with everything we have going on, let's take a listen.
Won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady? Baby, I'm a wanted man.
Love it. Okay, now for some drastic A/B testing, let's turn everything off. We're going to mute our effects bus. We are going to bypass all of our plugins. We'll leave Melodyne on. Let's listen to the verse from the beginning.
Desperado, I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow. Desperado, I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow. A 6-string in my hand.
All right, let's throw it all together. We're going to put the track in. I know you guys haven't heard this song yet. I'm excited for you to hear it. Really happy with how the vocal's sounding. It is bright, crispy, forward, punchy, round from some of the effects we brought back. Let's hear it in the mix.
Desperado, I'm a wanted man, living like there's no tomorrow. A 6-string in my hand. Senorita, won't you take me by the hand, be my voodoo lady? Baby, I'm a wanted man. 'Cause we run and we run till we're out of time. Yeah, we run till we're out of time.
hope that you got a lot out of kind of sitting over my shoulder in the studio today. I want to do more of these, rehash some mixes we've done. There's a lot of music I'm really proud of and I want to share with you. So let me know what you want to learn. If it's more drum tutorials or different styles of music or electric guitars or synthesizers or background vocals, really anything that you're interested in. If it's a genre I work in and I have some cool material to show you, why not? Let's do it. So drop me a comment, let me know what you want to learn. And if you got something out of today's video, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, share it with your producer friends. It would mean the world to me. It helps the channel so much, helps me keep making these things. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.